Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Figma number 342 Atlas from Portal 2. And this thing is a deceptively simple figure. It looks like it's going to be really complex and lots of crazy stuff going on, but it's actually really basic. There's a couple things that are kind of unique and kind of involved, but otherwise it's super basic. It's really, really basic, highly fragile, but still really cool looking. So there's plenty to talk about. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands to the top of the shoulder, just about 5 inches, a little bit over that, which is going to make him pretty close to 13 centimeters. Now, of course, you can adjust the height a little bit depending on how you have him posed, but it's not going to change to any large degree. This guy looks cool, that's for sure. There are mostly molded parts that are connected to each other, so the paint job appears to be pretty clean. The parts that are painted, though, like you can see in here, definitely could be a little bit cleaner. It's not terrible, though. And then the other parts are still painted pretty well. So definitely a high contrast figure, lots of cool aesthetic values in here. So I think that's definitely really nice. They did a good job with the logo on the back. Overall, really nice. The eye is probably my favorite part, because it is transparent and that you can see the different layers inside. Very, very nicely executed. Now, as far as accessories go, we have very few. We have only 3 different sets of hands: the 2 fist hands, 2 gripping hands, and 2 style pose hands. And then we have the portal gun. Lastly, we have the Figma display stand, but that's about it. Not a lot to write home about, but that is probably all you need, so can't really complain about that. Now, the cool thing about this guy is the eyeball part itself. According to the instructions in the back of the box, you can pop the whole ball part out, like the whole main body part out. I can't get it to come out, and since I'm borrowing this figure and it's highly fragile, I don't want to screw with it anymore, so I'm not going to do it. But supposedly, this white part comes out of its socket. Okay, so you can do that. Just be very careful, especially with this guy back here. The articulation we'll start from the top and work our way down. For the shoulders, we just have a ball peg connecting the arm to the body. It's not super loose. I think that's okay. It seemed looser before, but maybe not. It's okay. We have also a ball hinge, of course, connected to that, so you can raise the arm up out to the side. You're going to do all your rotation on that ball peg, of course. You do get a bicep swivel out of that ball hinge, so that's pretty nice. Like I said, pretty basic, but pretty nice. They do pop out a little bit more easily than I would prefer, but they don't end up getting loose, so I guess that's okay. For the elbow, you just have your standard Figma joint, which gives you better than 90 degrees, so that's fine. And then for the wrist, you have a little tiny ball hinge, which give you tons of range, and that's it. That's fine. Like I said, it's actually a really basic figure. It looks complex, but it's not. You know what? We'll do the ball last. For the hips, just like the shoulder, we have a big old ball peg and then a ball hinge. The ball peg on the hips, significantly looser than I would prefer. It's not as tight as the shoulders even, so that's potentially a problem. Luckily, he weighs almost nothing, so it's not a big deal, but be aware that it is pretty loose. You do get your bicep swivel out of that, and of course, all the range you need. For the knees, there is a bit of an issue. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this. I think you can see it right there. There's a gray piece of plastic right above my pinky nail that keeps the knee from moving. So that's all the range you get until you force it over that, which you can, and it causes this to flex more, but it gives you a whole lot more range, like a ton more range. And he does have a significant bend in his knee on the pose on the packaging, so I'm guessing that's how it's supposed to be. This one doesn't fight you as much, so I'm not sure. I think it's just a weird design / assembly issue. So the knees are actually pretty functional once you're aware of that kind of issue. For the ankles, we have essentially what's just a standard Figma joint. It pegs in at the top here and it pegs into the foot here. The whole heel part is just kind of a floating cap piece. So you have the hinge that you would normally have. It does rotate some, but there's really nowhere for it to go, so it can't. And then you have a toe hinge up here, but this part rotates around on the straight peg of the Figma hinge that you would expect. How useful this whole situation is, pretty much not useful at all. You're going to want to just keep his feet flat and keep him standing on the ground, otherwise you're not going to be able to keep him balanced. But because of the loose hips. So it's not, like you can see how loose the hips are. It's not the best situation. And then the ankles are just basic. So okay, back to the eyeball part. It's kind of cool because it rotates up and down very nicely. This gray piece just rotates on either end. It's kind of just your standard axis type of rotation. Then it does rotate left and right as well. I can't get it to go too much more than that. It seems kind of limited, but it moves around very nicely. And then my favorite feature is, well, that's a double ball peg. We'll get to that in a second. My favorite feature is that you can open up and close his eye. I like that a whole bunch. So that gives you kind of a little bit more posing variety. I like that. I think that's cool. And then this guy is just connected on a double ball peg. So not much to talk about there. So that's it. Like I said, a very basic figure, but the way the ball moves around, it's simple, but it's well executed, at least up and down anyway. It works nicely. So that's cool. Side to side could be better, but I really like the eye itself with the opening iris, or I guess the eyelids, I guess, not really the iris. And then the way that's executed with the translucent plastic, very cool looking. Overall, it's a cool looking figure. Definitely some problems in tightness for the joints, but it'll be something you can live with, especially since you have a display stand. So if you're into Portal, this is a really cool looking figure. I think you'll be able to live with the problems. And you can decide for yourself now because I've given you all the information you need. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. And if you like my content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up just about every single day. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff. So make sure you come back for that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.